Welcome back to the shop. As always, it's about spending the day here in the shop, but I promise you, if you had spent the last couple of days here in the shop with me, you would have been bored to tears. I've been busy doing a lot of stuff, and it's been a lot of tedium that just does not make for good content. However, I've made so much progress on stuff, I've got to catch you up to speed on where we are on Fundestruck. Remember, this is our fun duster suspension, duster drivetrain in a truck. So it's a fun dust truck, Fundestruck. We're after it, and we got lots to share. Stick around. I'm Mike, and you are watching My Car's Shop. I think the last episode I shared with you was building the motor mounts. The motor is bolted in, and I said I needed to make a cross member here for the thing, and reality is it's yeah, it's a different one that's in there. Let's just leave it at that. Okay, so I've got a cross member in there. I'll show you. I've also had problems with negative camber on this wheel, and I couldn't figure out why. I sorted that out. I'm going to share that with you. But one of our biggest points of progress here on the project is this. We have the steering column installed and temporarily hooked up. So that's another big step forward on the project. So as you can see, we have our cross member there. Goes up over there. That's good. That's going to work really well. It may be, yeah, it's a little bit this way, but it clears the steering well. It's no lower than the front here, so we're good on the height there. And if I want to, and I may run a couple of support braces back off the K-frame for that. I'm not sure yet because we're getting into parts that are bolted in versus parts that are welded in, so I don't know. The biggest issue I had here, I spent a long time sorting out, was I had, not anymore so much, but I had negative camber on this wheel. Part of it was the front end was just a little bit too high. Now it's a little bit too low, but I still have more adjustment, but I didn't see that I had a big goob of weld down in there. And that was causing me issues, interfering with my inner bushing. So I got it on both sides. So I got to fix that. When I still have to do the upper ball joint and the lower control arm bushings on this side. So when I get that done, I'll go ahead and fix that, and I think that'll take care of that issue. It took me forever to figure out how I was going to install a steering column. That's the one we're going with. I wanted to use the original, but it wasn't making any sense because this thing fell in there so good. I've got a temporary bolt, U-bolt there to hold it in. I need something a little bit bigger than that probably, but for now it's doing the job. But this is going to give us our shifter, our ignition, and our blinkers and everything. So this is a bad blinker switch in it, but we'll get that fixed. A couple different steering wheel options. I've got one out of a 69 Charger, got a one out of a 73 Dart. That one's out of a 76 Valiant that actually goes with that column. And believe it or not, this is temporary, but I've got to chop this off of here and make a different way to mount that to the firewall on the bottom side. But it's a straight shot into the box. I've got another steering box that I'm going to cut the end of the shaft off here. Not on this one. Drive the pin out and put a sleeve on it, and then put that down in there, and then weld the sleeve with the other piece of shaft. We'll add about 8 inches, probably 6-8 inches with the sleeve, and we should be in like Flynn. So that's cool. I've also got cab mounts that I've had to sort out because it's not mounted to any mounts right now, and I realize that's a problem because if I'm lining everything up like steering, if I move this, let's say I was to put rubber pads under this to raise that up, that's going to be a problem with the steering. So I don't want to do that, but I've got that sorted too. So let me show you. What I want to do is I'm going to put tabs off of the frame here that come out, right? And then we're going to do hockey pucks under the frame here, and then of course underneath, so it's all on rubber. The problem is, again, it's sitting here. So what I plan to do is I will take another piece of this 1x3, put it on top of this one, run it across, weld it all up, and then I can just go in here and snip the bottom piece out, and that will put that up 1 inch above the frame. It'll be sitting on rubber. I'll do that in all four corners, and we're going to be in like Flynn. That raises the floor up an inch. That is not going to be a problem at all. Something else that I figured out, I need to put a cross in the frame, an X member in the frame to give the frame some stiffness. I've got that sort. I found the material for that as well, so I'll show you that. So I was out digging in my steel storage building, and I found this, which is an extra stuff from the shelves that we made the chassis table from. I don't need this at all, and I realized that is perfect material to make an X member. Then I don't have to buy more of this 2x3 box tube. I can just use those two pieces, build an X, put it in the frame. It'll start as far forward as I can on the frame without interfering with anything, and then come back in this area here. And that X will keep the frame from twisting. So I'm glad to have that sorted out. So there's just been a lot of cogitating and thinking and working things out and working things through. It's a lot. I got to think through all of this stuff before we go further forward on the project. I'm still working on the heater. I may end up using the original heater as much as I didn't want to, because it'll be the easiest fit. I'm just not sure yet. And the next thing I've got to sort out is the brake pedal. We've already looked at that a little bit, but now that I have the steering in place, I really need to take a long, hard look at the brake pedal and see where that's going to land. So you can see on this car where our steering column and brake pedal kind of fall, and the brake pedal assembly kind of straddles the column. So I want to replicate that, obviously, from the perspective of being able to have the the truck kind of match the A body just from a layout standpoint. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a challenge because there's stuff under the dash I got to get rid of, but let's go take a look. So you can kind of see where this is going to go. This is kind of going to go up over. I'm going to chop these off and get them out of the way. And then our brake pedal will be up in this vicinity here. Of course, it'll be up higher because of where that's going to go on the firewall. But there's some stuff in the way up in there I need to deal with, some bracing and so forth. I've got to get out of the way. I really need to take this dash right out. The problem is it's kind of part of the cab. So I don't know. I got to think about that, how I'm going to handle that. I guess I should look and see if there's a way to take that out. I don't guess there is. I mean, there's always a way. I have a torch, but so I don't know. When we get this back on the body cart, that may be the time to do that, now that I know where the steering is going to go. That kind of stuff. But these are all just those tedious things that have got to be done to figure out a project like this. But, I mean, we even have a key switch. So that's cool. I was curious, and I answered my question. That heater box will not work. Here's why. The heater core hits on the valve cover, and the pipes don't even come through. I could raise it up higher, but it's such a piece of crap. That just makes my issue a lot easier. I can always go with something else other than the box we have. But that puts that issue to rest once and for all. I actually have another heater box upstairs that could work on this. It's out of the. It's not out of the Oakland. What's it out of? It's out of my Model A. That's what it's out of. So that's a possibility too. Definitely going to have to do more work in here to make more room for the distributor. I may just take this out up to like here. I'm not sure yet. But again, it's all part of hot rodding, right? I may end up bathtubing that firewall back all the way. I don't know. It's all stuff that's figure outable. Oh, yes, I was going to see if I had an air cleaner for this, because that's probably important too. Is it a major deal? No, but I'm just curious. Well, I have two lids and one base. This should have a 2-barrel base somewhere. Can't find it. This is a slant 6 1-barrel top. I don't know where the base is for that. This is a 318 2-barrel, and it won't fit. I would prefer to use something like this. And we can, if we have to open this up here. I don't know how that's going to interfere with the heater box. The other option is I could notch it to make room for it to fit in there. It probably would work. Or I can just take my plasma cutter and just cut that base out and use that base with, yeah, this lid I think would be about right. Pretty close. We have this custom air cleaner filter for, it's bent. So that's cool. Anyway, stupid stuff, but it's all stuff you got to think about. Because heater box clearance to that, it's all different than obviously a duster would be. And with the engine back set 9 inches, it all adds up in stack ups that matter. Now, they do offer, I don't like buying stuff, but I know in the aftermarket they offer some really simple little heater boxes that are only about this big for hot rods that would fit right in there and give me a ton of room. And they're, I don't know, I've bought one in a long, long time. Last time I looked, they were $100. That means they're probably 900 now. But it's an option, is what I'm saying. Obviously, we are really low to the ground. Duster ground clearance is 4.5 to 5 inches. I'm thinking we're close to that. I just need to find a tapeworm and double check it. And every time I look for a tapeworm, there's none to be found. So let me find one, and then we'll measure it. It's about 4 3/4 of an inch, a little bit less than. I don't know what will be back here. That looks like about 5 inches, so it's actually higher. It's cool. Now we are going to run bigger tires on this. These are 14s. I'm probably going to run some 15s. These tires are 26 tall. I'm thinking something closer to 28 to 30, so that'll give us a couple inches. We will be raising the front end up another inch. I got to be careful because when you start raising these things up too much, it starts really screwing up your caster and your camber. So I got to be careful about it where we do it, but it's the nice thing about custom build is we can determine where we want it and go from there. Yeah, so, duster, like I said, 4.5 to 5 inches is a factory spec from the lowest point, which is usually the front of the K-frame. So it's coming. It's got a long ways to go and a short time to get there, but it's coming. I don't know about you, but I think we've come just a little ways forward on this. In my Facebook memories today, which is Monday, Memorial Day, there was a picture of the truck sitting out here on my big orange implement trailer on the original 1-ton frame. Still had the dump box mechanism and all that on it. And I was fixing to take the cab off so that I could work on the cab. It was 1 year ago. Since then, we've gotten the cab reinforced. Let's leave it that way. We've done a bunch of work on the cab. We've worked on the fenders. We've worked on some stainless. We've built an entire tube chassis suspension system and taken it off of the chassis table about a month ago. That episode aired Friday, 3 days ago, 2 days ago. Today's Monday, Friday, 3 days ago. And we set the cab on it yesterday's episode, Sunday, Memorial Day weekend. I don't think that's too bad of progress considering we have not made this into a massive project. I'm just chipping away one bite at a time. And that's the philosophy here at My Car Shop. You don't have to spend big money. I'm using crap I have. We did buy new front suspension, tie rods, ball joints, all that stuff for it. Hi thing. What do we got into this truck? Yes, I did. I don't know if I did an episode on it, but I bought some headlights. $300 for suspension bits. A couple $100 for miscellaneous, let's say. Other than that, it's all crap we've been using around here. We got $600 in this whole project. Anybody that tells you that you have to spend huge money is selling something. Yes, if I didn't have the big inventory of stuff, I would be looking at other options. But I have all of this stuff. However, if I was going to use Mopar, I've seen a dozen Valaris out there for $500 junkyard value that I could have done the same thing as I did with this Duster suspension. I saw several S10 chassis. That's a common swap on these. $500 for one of those. So would we be any different money-wise to get it to where we're at now? Not much. Not much. Oh yeah, we had $100 in welding materials I gave Chris for a whole spool of wire, um, and a tank of gas and a couple other things. So $600, $700 at the most. I think, yeah, we got a long ways to go, but I don't have a target budget for this, but I do have the objective of spending as little as possible. If we could get this truck running and driving for a few grand, I think that would be huge. Can we? I don't know. I still don't. I mean, we got to buy glass. That's probably going to be, mm, let's say the glass is going to be $300 to $500. Okay, that'll be an expense. Um, Metal for the box we got to make, but I have wood to make a temporary box. There may be a couple vanity items like a hood ornament that we're going to buy for it. I don't know. We're going to do it as cheap as we can. The headlights were a must, in my opinion, because let me go grab those and show them to you in case I haven't. I don't think, maybe I have. I don't know. Brand new. Speedway. Guy down the road that I didn't, well, the guy down the road that I do know, I asked him, he's the one that bought the chassis from me. I said, you know anybody's got some headlights for sale? Yeah, I do actually. Sent me to a guy that's a friend of an old friend of mine that passed away. I didn't know this guy, but I knew his best friend. Yeah, I got these. He wanted $300 for them. Brand new, never been installed. I said, not because I'm being a cheapskate. It's what I got. I'm really struggling with cash. I said, would you take $250? Yeah, absolutely. I'll take $250 for them. So those are I mean, that's more than I put into almost anything on this truck. And they're halogen. They're not LED. They're from Speedway. Like I said, he got them with a project that he bought. He didn't need them, and he decided rather than them collecting dust on the shelf, he just wanted to put them in somebody's hands that could use them. The deals are out there, okay? You just have to be diligent, and it's also a lot about who do you know that knows somebody, okay? We've got episodes galore on the channel. You don't have to spend big money at Menards to build hot rods. So yeah, a couple more things to sort out here, but I want to fire this motor up soon. I need to pull the motor. I'm going to do that before we fire it. Probably need to get our rear transmission crossmember figured out. We'll do that after we pull the cab back off. I think we're close to pulling the cab back off on this thing and finishing up the front work that we need to do and putting the motor in permanently. We are going to do absolutely the right thing on this. We're not going to clean or paint a thing. Rat rod. Not about clean. It's about useful. I might power wash it off just to get all of the feathers and shop debris and everything from the motor. But I've had this motor. I got it from my buddy Charlie. I bet it's been 10 years, maybe more. So came out of a 73 Duster or 73 Dart, good running motor. It was complete. I've robbed a few things off of it. It's supposed to run good. We'll find out. We'll get it fired up, check the oil pressure, all that stuff. So that's coming. Hopefully it runs good. If not, I've got one off of a 78 pickup back there that I know will work. That came out of a truck that I was driving. So it's not the best motor, but it'll be fine for this until I can figure something else out. But the girl wants to be driving this around in the fall, and this is the end of May. So yeah, I'm not saying road legal. We're not going to be road legal, but if I can have the cab back on it, even if the body work's not done on it, and have it running and driving with brakes so that it moves and stops, that's my goal. So that she can putz around with a little bit, and she's got a couple little things she wants to do. Yeah, we got a long ways to go. I admit it, but one little bite at a time, you can get her done. All right, that's going to do it for this one. I just wanted to give you updates on the stuff I've been working on, what I've been finding, what I've been figuring out. Still need to clean up the K-frame up here, not as far as paint, just as far as cutting stuff off to make it cleaner so that the radiator fits better. It's a lot. I'm not going to do this steering shaft permanently until the cab is permanently on, because if I have to move the cab back an inch or forward an inch, I don't want to be mucking with that. So we got latitude and forgiveness, but I'd rather plan ahead. Now that it's planned and I know it's going to work, we'll go from there. I will take time to buzz this plate that we don't need off of there. I may modify that into some kind of a plate that we can use up here to mount that to the firewall. Likely that's what I'll do. I don't know. There's stuff. So anyway, I'm going to shut up. We'll come back on the next one. And thanks for being here. I appreciate it. And one more thing, because it is the most important thing at MKS. Raw!